Hunter Pence steps into the box. Look at that stance. Feet spread impossibly wide, bat waggling like he's conducting an orchestra, arms positioned like he's about to chop wood instead of hit a baseball. Everything about Hunter Pence screamed, this guy doesn't belong in the big leagues. His throwing motion looked like he was shot putting. His running style resembled a newborn giraffe. Don't get me started on that swing. And yet, somehow, this beautiful disaster of a baseball player became one of the most beloved giants in franchise history. Helped deliver 2 World Series championships to San Francisco and had a career that spanned 14 seasons. Hunter Pence was constantly told he was doing everything wrong, so how did he prove everyone right and still succeed anyway? If you're enjoying this deep dive into one of baseball's most unique success stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got more incredible baseball stories coming your way. This is the story of Hunter Pence, a player who turned being weird into a superpower. Most great baseball stories begin with a kid who was naturally gifted, who dominated Little League, who looked like they belonged from day one. Hunter Pence's story begins differently. Growing up in Fort Worth, Texas, Hunter was always tall and lanky, eventually reaching 6'4". But his coordination seemed to lag behind his growth spurts. While other kids developed smooth, textbook swings, Hunter's approach looked like he was trying to kill a snake with a stick. His high school coach at Arlington Heights tried everything to fix his mechanics. Hunter, square up your stance. Hunter, keep your elbow up. Hunter, stop moving around so much. But every adjustment seemed to make him worse, not better. The thing was, despite looking completely wrong, Hunter could actually hit. Not consistently, not pretty, but when he made contact, the ball jumped off his bat in a way that defied explanation. By his senior year, college scouts were showing up not because of how he looked, but because of what he produced. The University of Texas saw something in this gangly kid that others missed. Potential wrapped in the most unconventional package imaginable. The Houston Astros selected Hunter Pence in the second round of the 2004 draft, 64th overall, taking a flyer on a player with tools but questionable technique. In the minors, every hitting coach had the same reaction. We need to completely rebuild his kid's swing. Hunter spent 3 years having his natural approach deconstructed and rebuilt over and over again. The results were mixed. Some months he looked like a future star, crushing balls with that unorthodox but powerful swing. Other months he'd strike out so much that people wondered if he'd ever make it past AA. But there was something else about Hunter Pence that couldn't be taught or measured: his energy. Teammates and coaches described him as the most positive, enthusiastic player they'd ever been around. He'd show up to the ballpark like it was Christmas morning every single day. In 2007, the Astros finally called him up. At 24 years old, Hunter Pence was about to prove that sometimes weird works. His first major league hit came off of Woody Williams, a broken bat single that somehow found its way through the infield. It was the perfect metaphor for his entire approach to baseball. It shouldn't work, but somehow it does. After 4 seasons in Houston, where Hunter had established himself as a solid but unspectacular outfielder, the Astros made a decision that would change everything. In July 2011, they traded him to the Philadelphia Phillies for 4 prospects. Philadelphia was supposed to be Hunter's chance to prove he belonged on a championship-caliber team. The Phillies were looking to add another bat for a World Series push. But instead of thriving in the spotlight, Hunter struggled. His batting average dropped, his power numbers declined, and suddenly, all those mechanical issues that coaches had been trying to fix for years were being magnified on the biggest stage in baseball. The Philadelphia media, never known for their patience, began to question whether Hunter Pence was actually a good player who looked bad or a bad player who had been lucky. The criticism was brutal. He swings like he's trying to hit a piñata blindfolded, one columnist wrote. Pence's mechanics are so broken that even his hits look like mistakes, said another. But Hunter's teammates saw something different. They saw a guy who never stopped grinding, never stopped encouraging others, never let the criticism affect his effort level. Ryan Howard later said, "Hunter was the most professional competitor I ever played with. He cared more about winning than looking good." Suddenly, Hunter Pence found himself on the trade block once more. after just one season in Philadelphia. He was being shopped around like a player teams wanted to get rid of, not acquire. On July 31st, 2012, Hunter Pence was traded again, this time to the San Francisco Giants for Tommy Joseph, Seth Rosen, and Nate Shearholt. It was his second trade in 13 months, and many people wondered if he was becoming baseball's version of a rental car. But something magical happened when Hunter Pence put on a Giants uniform. Maybe it was the laid-back San Francisco culture. Maybe it was manager Bruce Bochy's hands-off approach to hitting mechanics. Or maybe it was just destiny. Within weeks, Hunter had become the emotional leader of the Giants team that was quietly putting together one of the most improbable championship runs in recent memory. His energy was infectious, his effort was undeniable, and suddenly his weird swing was producing clutch hits. The 2012 playoffs were when Hunter Pence announced himself to the baseball world. In Game 4 of the NLCS against St. Louis, with the Giants facing elimination, Hunter came up in the 6th inning with runners on base. What happened next was pure Hunter Pence. He took a swing that looked like he was trying to swat a mosquito, made contact with what should have been a routine pop-up, and somehow the ball carried over the left field wall. Homer. "I don't know how that ball went out," Hunter said after the game. "I was just trying to make contact, and good things happened." It was the most Hunter Pence explanation possible for the most Hunter Pence home run ever hit. The Giants would go on to win that series and eventually the World Series, with Hunter playing a crucial role throughout. But this was just the beginning of his San Francisco love affair. If Hunter Pence had retired after the 2012 World Series, he'd be remembered as a solid contributor for a championship team. But what happened on October 1st, 2014, turned him into a San Francisco legend forever. The Giants were facing the Pittsburgh Pirates in the wild card game. Winner take all, loser go home. Hunter Pence stepped to the plate with 2 runners on base. The first pitch was a slider, low and away. Hunter took his trademark awkward swing and somehow managed to flare a ball right down the right field line. What should have been a routine single turned into something special when the ball hit the warning track and bounced perfectly for a double. Hunter Pence, arms raised, screaming with pure joy as 40,000 Giants fans lost their minds, became one of the most iconic images in franchise history. It perfectly captured everything that made Hunter special: the passion, the emotion, the ability to come through when it mattered most. The Giants would win that game 8-0 and go on to win another World Series, their 3rd in 5 years. And at the center of it all was their beautifully weird right fielder, who had somehow become the heart and soul of a championship dynasty. By 2015, Hunter Pence had won 2 World Series and become one of the most popular players in baseball. But the question remained: how did someone with such unconventional mechanics achieve so much success? Sports scientists and hitting coaches began studying Hunter's approach more seriously. What they found was fascinating. While his stance and swing looked chaotic, there was actually a strange kind of method to the madness. Dr. Alan Nathan, a physics professor who studied baseball mechanics, analyzed Hunter's swing and discovered something remarkable. Pence generates incredible bat speed through his lower body rotation, Nathan explained. His unconventional hand position actually creates a whip-like effect that maximizes power transfer. In other words, Hunter Pence had accidentally stumbled onto biomechanically sound principles, even though it looked completely wrong to the naked eye. Giants hitting coach Hensley Mullins put it perfectly. Hunter taught us that there's no such thing as perfect mechanics. There's only what works for each individual player. Trying to make Hunter swing like everyone else would have been like trying to make Picasso paint like everyone else. But it wasn't just his swing that made Hunter effective. His approach at the plate was equally unique. While other hitters tried to be selective and work counts, Hunter's philosophy was simpler. See ball, hit it hard. This approach drove analytics experts crazy, but it worked for Hunter because he had exceptional hand-eye coordination hidden beneath all that mechanical chaos. He could make contact with pitches that other hitters couldn't even see. What made Hunter Pence truly special wasn't just what he did between the lines. It was how he connected with people. In San Francisco, he became more than just a baseball player. He became a community icon. Hunter's coffee obsession became legendary. He'd visit local coffee shops throughout San Francisco, not for publicity or endorsement, but because he genuinely loved discovering new blends and meeting the people who made them. His teammates often joked that Hunter knew more baristas in San Francisco than he knew opposing pitchers. He'd show up to the clubhouse with coffee from some place none of us had ever heard of, recalled Pablo Sandoval, and somehow it was always amazing. But Hunter's impact went deeper than coffee recommendations. He regularly visited children's hospitals, participated in community cleanup events, and used his platform to support local businesses and charities. What set him apart was his authenticity. These weren't calculated PR moves. Hunter genuinely cared about San Francisco and its people. He adopted the city as much as the city had adopted him. In 2018, when Hunter announced he was leaving San Francisco to sign with the Texas Rangers, the reaction wasn't just sadness, it was genuine heartbreak. The Giants were losing more than a player, they were losing a piece of their identity. So what exactly was Hunter Pence's legacy? His career numbers tell the story of a very good player. 244 home runs, 4 All-Star selections. Solid, but not spectacular by traditional measures. He never won an MVP award, never led the league in any major offensive category, and never made it into the conversation of the game's elite players. By every conventional measure, Hunter Pence was simply a good player who had a nice career. But here's the beautiful paradox of Hunter Pence. He proved that greatness isn't always measured in individual statistics or perfect technique. Sometimes greatness is about impact on teammates, on fans, on the culture of winning. Bruce Bochy, who managed 3 San Francisco Giants teams to World Series championships, said this about Hunter: "I've managed Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers, but I've never managed anyone who meant more to a team's success than Hunter Pence. He made everyone around him better." Hunter's career was proof that baseball, like life, has room for different kinds of excellence. While others pursued perfection, Hunter embraced his imperfections and turned them into his strengths. He showed an entire generation of players that you don't have to look the part to be the part, that passion and authenticity can be just as valuable as raw talent, that being weird isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. Hunter Pence retired from baseball in 2020, ending a 14-year career that defied every convention and expectation. He never looked like a major league player, never swung like one, never threw like one. But he proved that somehow the most beautiful thing about sports isn't perfection. It's the triumph of heart over form, of passion over convention, of being authentically yourself in a world that constantly tells you to be someone else. In a game obsessed with finding the next perfect player, Hunter Pence reminded us that imperfection can be its own kind of perfect. Hunter Pence wasn't just a baseball player. He was proof that you can succeed not despite being different, but because of it. If this story of baseball's most beautiful weirdo inspired you, make sure to smash that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that being different is actually amazing, and drop a comment below telling us about your favorite Hunter Pence memory, or who you think we should cover next in our series on baseball's most unique characters. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the stories that make baseball the greatest game in the world. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the best way to fit in is to stand out.